Hello, Team Thunder. We are back at it, continuing to study ethos, pathos, and logos. Today, focusing on pathos. So, you really should have already worked through most of the Pear Deck. And today, this video is simply to have you check your answers. So, you should have watched at least the beginning of this video, giving you a rundown of pathos and worked through telling us why we're learning about this, reviewing exactly what pathos means. I always think of it as that appeal to emotion, like your notes have mentioned. And sometimes we can say this is like trying to pull at the heartstrings of your audience, like really get the audience feeling emotional. If you remember a portion of the video, it talked about it's not about the speaker or the writer feeling emotional, it's about creating that emotion for your audience. So let's take a look at these examples here. Um, or let's go over these answers here. If for some reason you have not filled in your responses yet, please pause, do the work, and then check your answers this way, okay? So we have our example. You don't be the last person to get one. You don't want to be the laughing stock of your school. So that's appealing to the emotion of the audience. We can all probably relate with that idea of being the laughing stock, and we don't want to, as it says here, we don't want to have our dignity or pride hurt. So that really gets at our emotions. Number one, if you don't want to purchase this life insurance and something happens to you, how will your family survive? So I'm going to say here, this one all comes back to that emotion that's tied to somebody's family. So for number one, I'm going to say that this is appealing to the audience's sense of responsibility to their family. If you think about it, telling somebody that or asking somebody how is your family going to survive if you don't have this insurance, that gets at the emotion of wanting to take care of family members. And of course, when people have passed away, they're going to want that sense of or that peace of mind and knowing that their family members are well taken care of. Okay, number two, we have been mistreated, abused, and oppressed. They have benefited from our suffering and we must act now. So this one is going to come back to that emotion, that appeal for emotion that has to do with the oppression, the mistreatment, the abuse, and the suffering. When we hear that things like that have happened to people, that tends to create an emotional response within us. So typically when we hear that somebody's been mistreated, abused, oppressed, that kind of thing, we feel bad for them. Our heart goes out to them. This is appealing to the audience's sense of wanting to care for others and wanting other people to feel safe and unharmed, no suffering, no mistreatment. Okay, guys, do you need to pause the video and complete these before you check your answers? Please do. So for number three, we live in a great democracy, so donate now and support the troops who are protecting our freedom. This one is going to pull at the heartstrings of your audience. It is going to have them or encourage them to think about the people that are fighting for their country, the people that are protecting their freedom. And of course, that makes you a little emotional to think about the troops that are out there protecting our freedoms and what we could do to support them. And in this case, they're asking you to make some sort of a donation. And you may be more likely to make that donation if you're thinking about the fact that, oh, these men and women are protecting me. They're protecting my freedom, my country. That's going to get at your emotions. And for number four, just eat and don't complain. Children in Africa are starving and would give anything to have that plate of food. You've probably heard a comment like this before or heard this stated before. This appeals to the audience's emotions by urging them to think of others who may not be fortunate enough to have the same type of resources that they do. So if you have that plate of food and you're considering not finishing it, wasting it, throwing it away, or you don't like it, um, thinking about people who are in a situation where they don't have food at all, that's going to get you thinking, cause you to, or urge you to be able to enjoy that, appreciate that, um, and maybe put yourself into somebody else's shoes. And finally, number 5, caring for the environment may not change your life, but it will change the lives of your children. So this one is appealing to the audience's desire to protect future generations, especially their future children. If you start to think about those future generations, future children, that makes it more personal. And of course, when you are thinking about protecting the earth, by making that comment and saying, but this might not affect you, but this will affect the life of your children, that's going to hit a little bit closer to home, and maybe somebody's going to change their actions or change what they're doing based on that appeal to their emotion. So there we have it. Um, Please make sure that you have completed the presentation. You have an example of pathos in action among high school students, and then you are going to go ahead and draw or create on storyboard.that your own comic. Just like our previous lesson, you are going to take a snip of this slide only. So that will either be what you have drawn or the comic that you've created online. And that is the only thing that you need to submit on Schoology. Okay, the Pear Deck does not have a separate submission. I can see on my end that you are completing that. So there we have it. Do not hesitate, as always, guys, to reach out to me if you need anything. Okay, I'm so glad that you are taking responsibility for your work, logging on, getting your stuff done, getting everything turned in. And I hope that everybody has a great day. Okay, bye, guys.